This is not financial advice, not legal advice, for entertainment, educational purposes only, and anything I say is my opinion. Please don't make any financial decision based on anything I say in these videos. Double check you're still subscribed to the channel. Double check your notifications are on. And if you hit that like button, double check it's working properly. Because these bad actors, these criminals, are doing everything in their power to suppress the channel because they're terrified of more people becoming aware of all the fraud and corruption in the United States stock market. I mean, that's really the bottom line. Listen, the bad actors are still naked shorting GME, and the reason they can do it every single day with no real consequences is because the SEC, the DOJ, and the FBI sit on the sidelines practicing willful blindness while this obvious fraud and corruption goes on their watch. Okay? I mean, that's really the bottom line. And the thing is this, these bad actors, these so-called smart money, they know GME is not going bankrupt. They know GME stock price is way below its real value. But they know that they can kick the can down the road as long as they want because the SEC, the DOJ, and the FBI I'm not going to say they're terrified of them, but the politicians appoint the heads of these agencies, and the heads of these agencies tell them who to go after. And they don't go after criminals who rob and steal from retail investors, pension funds, and institutions that follow the rules. They are not allowed to do that. They're only allowed to go after criminals that cost the 1%ers money. Once in a while, they will go after some small criminal to make it look like they're doing their job. But 95% of the crime is by the 1%ers, yet the enforcement on the crime by the 1%ers is probably only 5%, if that, okay? If that. It's absolutely appalling what goes on in the United States stock market, that these criminals can do what they do every single day in broad daylight with no real consequences, okay? It's sickening. Anyway, let me tell you something. You got more institutions buying up GME. You got more retail investors buying up GME. And the reason the price is going down is because they are pushing all the buy orders into the dog pools, and then they're creating fake sell orders. They're spoofing. I mean, what they're doing is obvious to anybody who's paying attention. The thing is, the SEC, the DOJ, the FBI, they dropped the ball. They have dropped the ball, and they're allowing this to go on. But the institutions know that eventually they're going to have to cover those short positions. That's why the institutions are going long on GME. And the thing is this, the institutions know they're buying counterfeit shares. They know there are no real GME shares left to buy, but they are still buying them anyway. Because the bottom line is this, whether they're real shares or counterfeit shares, you still have to buy them back. I mean, that's really the bottom line. Anyway, GME numbers, the volume, 13,606,223. Those numbers mean absolutely nothing because they can create millions of counterfeit shares every day, and nobody's even going to ask them where did they originate, where did those shares come from. They're still claiming 26.78% of the float is DRS. Those numbers mean nothing. It could be 150% of the float DRS, and they would still find counterfeit shares to short every single day, and the SEC, the DOJ, and the FBI would do absolutely nothing about it. Okay? 41.9% of that volume was shorted shares. So somehow these guys found 5,400,000 GME shares to short into the market and manipulate the price. Yet nobody's asking them, where did you get those shares from? Where did you borrow them from? Nobody seems to care. Do you think they would allow this in Google or Meta or Apple? Of course not. They wouldn't allow it. But because the majority of the victims are retail investors, pension funds, and institutions that follow the rules, nobody in power seems to care. The short exempt, 13,186, a relatively small number, but it's just further evidence of the counterfeit shares and the FTDs they're sending overseas every day. And on top of that, they added 5,400,000 new short positions, but they're claiming they can cover all their short positions before the end of trading day today. Okay? So you guys, according to these numbers that they're putting out, this data, by the end of trading day today, before the end of trading day today, they can cover all their GME short positions. Do you guys think that's possible? Anyway, please leave some comments. Tell me what you think. Do you think the SEC, the DOJ, and the FBI need to ask these criminals where they're getting these GME shares from? Anyway, have a great day. God bless, and I appreciate y'all on this journey with me.